From the Y12 Federal Credit Union Studio, this is 103.5 WINC-FM and HD1 Knoxville.
In the studio, supported by Geico. They've been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to geico.com. Basketball, hockey, playoffs, every dunk, every slap shot, all at your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Barbecue-inspired food and cocktails, too. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Turn that guitar up.
Welcome to In the Studio, a 21st century perspective on history's greatest rock albums. I'm Redbeard, and today in the studio, it's the 30th anniversary of the late George Harrison's comeback, Cloud 9.
I just liked the idea of the yellow. There was a part of it that annoyed me, but I really secretly loved it because it carried on, in a way, the Beatles thing, and it fused it into the old rock and roll. And Jeff has got the skill of having all these little bits, nice little bits all strung together. And so I was aware of him for a long time, but I never knew him, I never met him until during the years, while I was Howard Hughes. I got my mind set on you. Got my mind set on you. Long time ago when we was fab. In the studio, I'm George Harrison with Redbeard.
To be honest, George Harrison never caught a break after stunning the entire music world with his post-Beatle triple album, All Things Must Pass, in 1970. When the single My Sweet Lord went to #1 worldwide, George was sued for inadvertently plagiarizing the song. When George Harrison responded, however, naively to a plea by Ravi Shankar to help starving people in Bangladesh, Harrison ended up owing $2.25 million personally in British taxes. When George toured the U.S. in 1974, he was mercilessly criticized by rock critics for tampering with the Beatles' legacy, then sued by his own record company for not delivering another album. By late 1982, George Harrison seemed content to focus on producing films such as Monty Python's The Life of Brian, and also Time Bandits, and a disinterested public seemed not to notice his absence. 5 long years would pass before the November 1987 release of the album Cloud 9, but George Harrison felt satisfied, he told me, with the album's eventual success.
People tend to write you off, and it's a bit silly, because after all the time we've been around, you think, well, I must know something by now. So I always felt confident that if I wanted to do something, and do it right, I could eventually. It's just the desire and building up the desire to do it. So it was very nice for me because people were saying, oh, yeah, he's okay. They suddenly gave me the green light. The worst thing is if you make a record and it doesn't get played on the radio, or nobody gets to know that it's out, or nobody buys it if they do know it's out. That's because then you got to start again and do it all again. So it's very satisfying to sell records and get good airplay on it. I like to put some words in songs that if anybody out there's listening, that they can, give them a bit of hope too. It's like also saying, don't worry, it's only a bit of time, and if you keep on trucking, it'll be okay. she like a glove? Joy my dream, tell me yes. Fail out should there be a mess. The pieces you don't need are mine. Take my time, I'll show you cloud nine. Take my smile and my heart, they were yours from the start. Pieces you need are mine. Have my love, use it while it does you good. Share my highs, but the times that it hurts, pain on mine. Those pieces you don't need are mine. I'll see you there on cloud nine.
The song and Cloud 9 album were produced by former Electric Light Orchestra leader and unabashed Beatle fan Jeff Lynne. I asked George Harrison about befriending Jeff.
It was fun doing Cloud 9. You know, as I say, the new songs, you know, because they're changing over the years, you know. I mean, if I could still write Here Comes the Sun, I would gladly do it, but my songs are changing a bit. You know, I just like the idea of the yellow. There was a part of it that annoyed me, but I really secretly loved it because it carried on, in a way, the Beatle thing, and it fused it into the old rock and roll, and Jeff has got the skill of having all these little bits, you know, nice little bits all strung together. And so I was aware of him for a long time, but I never knew him, I never met him until during the years, you know, while I was Howard Hughes. I think it's apart from the music, you see, Beatles came from the north of England, and Jeff came from this place just down the road, the heavy industrial area of the middle of England, Birmingham. You know, our life, upbringing as kids, and the kind of music you heard, and, you know, all that, that's all part of it. It's all the way he drinks a pint of beer or something. You know, it's things like that, I think, first of all, and just the kind of people we are. And then the music, you know, because that's what I always felt. I'd never really written tunes with other people. I mean, I'd done a bit with Ringo, you know, helped him with songs, but I was very scared about writing songs with other people because it's not easy. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes, you know, when you're trying to force it out, you know, you can write a lot of rubbish before you get to it. But I always thought with Jeff, well, if we get on as people, the music's going to be easy. And that was the main thing. I know you're in the sun,
close to everyone. At times it's like you don't have a hold on me. I see you in love, I see you in the moon above, but I wanna know that you're not lost sight of me. You know I need you, you know I love you. If I'm not with you, I'm not so much of a man. I'm like a fish on the sand. You call me in the night, you call me in the night, and hide behind the daylight, blowing like the wind, you don't let me see. You know I feel the pain, you know I feel the pain. I'm tired of playing games with you. There's nothing else I want that would set me free. You know I love you, you know I need you. If I can't be with you, I'm not so much of a man. I'm a fish on the sand. No use to no one else, and I'll dried up, watching all our lives go by. I can't believe you wanna see me cry. I hold you in my heart, I know that you're a part of me, but it's a must to know that you love me too. I look you in the eye, look you in the eye. You're swimming by my teardrops, but I wanna know for sure that you let me see. You know I want you, you know I need you. If I'm not with you, I'm not so much of a man. I'm like a fish on the sand. You know I need you, you know I love you. If I'm not with you, I'm not so much of a man. I'm a fish on the sand. Not so much of a man for a fish on the sand.
Fish on the Sand from George Harrison's Cloud 9 album has a very distinctive guitar, with George encouraged by producer Jeff Lynne to play the 12-string Rickenbacker guitar as George had done with the Beatles. How did you get that bell-like, that jangly guitar sound originally?
Originally,
What
it was
was
a Rickenbacker 12-string. It was before that which inspired the Byrds was A Hard Day's Night. And some of the songs on that were where I first played the Rickenbacker. And then Roger McGuinn, he got the Rickenbacker, and then he was doing the Tambourine Man and all that. And that song was inspired by one on their first album, which is called The Bells of Rimney. And then I wrote that, just to see how many tunes you can come up with that same D shape, basic D chord on the guitar. So many songs written around there. No, I used it on A Hard Day's Night, and I should have known better. And I think Norwegian Wood was an acoustic 12-string. Well, it was on a few tracks, but I think the one that really stands out in my mind as the greatest one is Tambourine Man by the Byrds.
In a tribute, Rolling Stone magazine editor Joe Levy said, and I quote, "Harrison made it clear he didn't need fame. He often said that his ego was satisfied. That's an extremely rare thing for a rock star. They usually get what they want and then want it over and over again. But that's not who George was."
When you're young, you're out there trying to make a name for yourself or just trying to make a living or an occupation. And, ego is necessary. You have to have it. But we went through so much, you know, we were put on such a pedestal, and we had everybody, the whole world was sort of bowing and scraping to us, and the press following us around every day. We were on the front page of all the papers for, you know, a couple of years. It seemed like a long time. And what happens in that condition, I think anybody has any sense, you realize that there's more to life than this. The book, which is the Hindu Bible, is called the Bhagavad Gita. And I don't know if you recall an album I had out called Living in the Material World.
Sure.
Inside of that, there was a picture of Krishna and Arjuna on a chariot. What the Bhagavad Gita is all about is that the battlefield and the chariot and the horses, you see, life is the battlefield. We're in our bodies, which is the chariot, on this battlefield, and the horses are all the senses which are pulling us through the battlefield. And unless we have God or something that's, you know, whatever you want to call it, to anchor yourself or to help you get through the battlefield, you're just going to crash. You know, all the experience we gain, sometimes you go through terrible things, but they actually turn out to be good because they help you rise above it. So it's all a learning process. I mean, I think life is just like, you know, going to school. And you have to figure it out, learn certain things, and hopefully rise above it.
Could you have written When We Was Fab in 1974?
No, I wouldn't have thought about it. I would have been too hung up on the past, you know, the Beatles. But now it's like it's good that you could look back at it with just think of the funny stuff. We just knocked it out on the piano one night, and somebody put a cassette on, so we just taped all the whatever we were doing. We got a bit legless, and this kept giving us bottles of champagne in this person's house. And and then we went back to England and finished it off, and we had Ringo plays drums, as you can hear him on the beginning. 1, 2, that. In fact, that's how I conceived the song. I was thinking of Ringo just doing that. 1, 2, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da, boom.
Back then, long time ago, when grass was green, woke up in a daze, arrived like strangers in the night. Long time ago when we was fab, back when income tax was all we had. Caresses fleeced you in the morning light, casualties at dawn, and we did it all. Long time ago when we was fab,
loving tribute to his mates in the Beatles comes with George Harrison on the Cloud 9 album called When We Was Fab. Up next, we'll tune into the gossip on the Devil's Radio and then learn how George's #1 hit from this album almost got left off. Follow In the Studio on Facebook and hear a lot more from George Harrison, Paul McCartney, and the Beatles at inthestudio.net. I'm Redbeard, in the studio for the 30th anniversary of George Harrison's big comeback album, Cloud 9.
Welcome to Geico's Motorcycle Meanderings.
Oh man, this is great. I sure saved a lot of money by switching to Geico. I scored some big savings and now I can use their mobile app 24/7 for all sorts of stuff. Life just makes sense now. What doesn't make sense is if we call bicycles bikes and tricycles trikes, shouldn't we call motorcycles Mikes? Maybe a bunch of guys named Mike teamed up and put a stop to it.
Geico Motorcycle. Savings that make sense.
Before the holidays, it's the little things at CVS Pharmacy that get you in the spirit of the season. Like Hallmark ornaments for the tree and LED light sets. Now buy one, get one 50% off. CVS Pharmacy offers so many other little things too, like a $10 CVS Pharmacy cash card. Yours when you spend $30 on select items, including Hershey's Cookie Layer Crunch. Now buy one, get one 50% off. Head to your neighborhood CVS Pharmacy today and save big on all the little things for everyone on your list.
If you could get rewarded for sleeping, would you? What about for sitting on a bench, looking out at the ocean? Or for sitting in a comfy chair, watching football on TV? Guess what? That third dream job is real thanks to Buffalo Wild Wings. You can come in, watch football, and earn points with Blazing Rewards just for being there. That's right, you're a professional football fan now. Brag about it to all your friends. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Terms and conditions apply. Must be a Blazing Rewards member. To join and for details, visit blazingrewards.com or download the Blazing Rewards app.
Friday is good. Black Friday is better. But Black Friday at Staples is better than better. Hurry to Staples this Black Friday and get an HP Stream laptop for just $199. That includes 1 year of Office 365 Personal. Staples also has deals on tablets, printers, monitors, and other great holiday gifts. TGIBF. Thank goodness it's Black Friday at Staples, where HP Stream laptops are just $199. Staples. More holiday fun, less holiday hassles.
While supplies last. Valid 11/23 to 11/27/17.
I'm David Boyd, an aggressive trial lawyer and Marine Corps War veteran. Collisions don't just happen, they're caused by inattentive and distracted driving. My philosophy is simple. You either pay attention when you're behind the wheel or we'll make you pay the price. I represent people that have been seriously injured by distracted and inattentive drivers. Put my number in your phone, 246-1800. 246-1800. I'm David Boyd. I'm a lawyer.
Are you ready to drive your career forward in 2018? Denso Manufacturing in Maryville is adding 1,000 new jobs within the next 4 years. Join their growing team that helps keep drivers and passengers safe. Openings include production, logistics, skilled trades, supervisors, and professional. Employees receive competitive pay, 401k, excellent health benefits, paid holidays and vacation, and convenient on-site access to their medical center, pharmacy, cafeterias, and fitness center. Apply at densocareers.com/Maryville. That's DENSO careers.com/Maryville. Equal Opportunity Employer.
103.5 WINZ, Knoxville's classic rock.
Welcome back in the studio. I'm George Harrison with Redbeard.
Of course, that's the late George Harrison. He's missed dearly. I'm Redbeard. Americans have only recently become aware of the merciless and pervasive nature of certain scandalous elements of the British press. But George Harrison endured it from 1964 with the Beatlemania until the day he died. George coined the title Devil's Radio for the vicious gossip.
After that 74 tour, I got such a slagging off in the newspapers or in the magazines. You know, it's like they smell blood and they try and come in for the kill. They try to kill you and then they try and nail the coffin down, the lid, you know, so you never get out again. And I felt that kind of thing happened during the end of 74 into 75. You know, when you're young, you're out there trying to make a name for yourself or just trying to make a living or an occupation. And, you know, ego is necessary. You have to have it. But we went through so much, you know, we were put on such a pedestal and we had everybody, the whole world was sort of bowing and scraping to us. And the press following us around every day. We were on the front page of all the papers for, you know, a couple of years. It seemed like a long time. And what happens in that condition, I think anybody who has any sense, you realize that there's more to life than this. The book, which is the Hindu Bible, is called the Bhagavad Gita. And I don't know if you recall an album I had out called Living in the Material World.
Sure.
Inside of that, there was a picture of Krishna and Arjuna on a chariot. What the Bhagavad Gita is all about is that the battlefield and the chariot and the horses, you see, life is the battlefield. We're in our bodies, which is the chariot, on this battlefield, and the horses are all the senses which are pulling us through the battlefield. And unless we have God or something that's, whatever you want to call it, to anchor yourself or to help you get through the battlefield, you're just going to crash. All the experience we gain, sometimes you go through terrible things, but they actually turn out to be good because they help you rise above it. So it's all a learning process. I mean, I think life is just like, going to school, and you have to figure it out, learn certain things, and hopefully rise above it.
without a doubt that life is a circle rather than a straight line, George Harrison provided the historical background to the choice of cover song, I've Got My Mind Set on You.
Did you ever see that old film of the Beatles in New York in 1964 that Maysles made? It's been around for years, and there's scenes of us coming into New York City, and there's a scene in the Plaza Hotel and Murray the K's there. Yeah. During that, we're on the telephone to Murray the K's station, and he's asking us for requests, and you can see in that film I say, have you got a record called Got My Mind Set on You by James Ray? And that song has just been with me in the back of my head for years. And as it happened, when we were doing those sessions, Keltner had got this drum pattern. He was like in one corner just making up all this crazy drum patterns, and he got this thing that was really swinging, you know, rock and swing both together. And Gary Wright was there, and Gary turned around and said, hey, doesn't that remind you of Got My Mind Set on You? And I said, absolutely, because I'd played that song to myself over the years thinking, God, this song is so good, because as a pop or rock song, because it's got all the best bits, it's got like twist and shout, and, you know, it's got all the good chords, you know. And so I said, absolutely, and we just did it there and then. Well, you know, that was the one track we weren't really going to have on the album. And then we thought, well, it really is good. It's a good track. We should have it on the album. And then, of course, I brought the album to Warner's, and Lenny listened and listened and listened. And he said, that's the single. I think his daughter picked it. And he was so right. Also, my boy, while we were recording it, he kept saying, that's the single. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. Got my mind set on you. But it's gonna take money, a whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time, whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right, child. I got my mind set on you. 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 And this time I know it's real, the feeling that I feel. I know if I put my mind to it, I know that I really could do it. I got my mind set on you, set on you. I got my mind set on you, set on you. But it's gonna take money, whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time, whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right. I got my mind set on you. 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 And this time I know it's real, the feelings that I feel. I know if I put my mind to it, I know that I really could do it. But it's gonna take a money, a whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take a time, a whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right.
Originally a mid-60s favorite by James Ray, that's George Harrison's Cloud 9 version that went to number 1 by January 1988, propelling the Cloud 9 album to the number 8 slot. Still to come, George tells how superstardom so early in life as a Beatle may have actually inhibited his growth as a musician, and also alludes to the habit that would later contribute to his early demise. Follow In the Studio on Facebook and hear a whole lot more at inthestudio.net. I'm Redbeard, and you're in the studio for the 30th anniversary of George Harrison's comeback album, Cloud 9.
Want to know my favorite word? Simple. It's how I run my life. Wear the same work boots every day? Simple. Have the same lunch? Simple. Take the same route to work? Simple. But sometimes my job gets complicated. That's why I use Grainger. No matter what issues the job throws at me, Grainger keeps things simple. Online ordering? Simple. Managing my inventory? Simple. And if something pops up, Grainger's got my back with 24/7 customer support. Simple as that. Call, clickgrainger.com, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We are ready. The entire Ulta Beauty store is glistening from top to bottom, aisle upon aisle of dazzling gifts, with color, shimmer, and beauty deals everywhere. Your best Black Friday is here.
Rush to Ulta Beauty for the hottest beauty busters, only available on Black Friday. There's only one place with amazing gifts like Velocity bath gels for under $15, and holiday-ready gifts like the Tarte Eye and Cheek set and the Best of Clinique set for 50% off. Hurry in to bring the beauty all season long. These deals won't last. Ulta Beauty, all things beauty, all in one place.
To help explain how fast it is to make Bob Evans original mashed potatoes, here are a few things you'll never need again. 1, a potato peeler. What is this, the Navy? 2, Grandma's recipe. She's gonna be so mad. 3, patience. What's that? Because Bob Evans original mashed potatoes are made with whole milk, real butter, and are ready in just 6 minutes. For rich, homemade taste for the whole family, find Bob Evans in the refrigerated section of your grocery store. It's farm fresh goodness, full of flavor.
Bob Evans down on the farm.
Before the holidays, it's the little things at CVS Pharmacy that get you in the spirit of the season. Like Hallmark ornaments for the tree and LED light sets. Now buy one, get one 50% off. CVS Pharmacy offers so many other little things too, like a $10 CVS Pharmacy cash card. Yours when you spend $30 on select items, including Hershey's Cookie Layer Crunch. Now buy one, get one 50% off. Head to your neighborhood CVS Pharmacy today and save big on all the little things for everyone on your list.
This Black Friday, two of the greatest forces in the galaxy are joining for the year's biggest event. Get to Nissan's Master the Drive sales event for Black Friday savings on our lineup, featuring Nissan intelligent mobility technologies like automatic emergency braking, standard on 6 models. Take on today. For a limited time, save up to $11,260 on the 2017 Titan XD. Black Friday savings start now, but they won't last. Shop ChooseNissan.com and your local Nissan dealer. See Star Wars The Last Jedi. In theaters December 15th. Nissan, innovation that excites. For well-qualified buyers, 2017 Titan XD, $11,260 consists of $8,500 cash back, $1,000 bonus cash, and $1,760 Platinum Reserve Bed Utility Package savings. Dealer sets actual price. Must finance through NMAC. Take from new dealer stock. Standard AEB excludes manual transmission and Nismo models. Availability of features vary by model. Call 1-888-858-8319 for offer details. Offers end 12/4/17.
Knoxville's classic rock.
103.5 WIMZ.
Welcome back in the studio. I'm George Harrison with Redbeard.
As we continue to mourn the passing of George Harrison in November 2001, we nevertheless celebrate his remarkable comeback, Cloud 9. One of the most surprising things George Harrison ever shared with me is how Beatlemania actually stunted George from evolving as a musician.
Have you ever envied the journeyman musician who could be in and would be in a number of bands over the course of a career?
Well, I think we all go through our lives and we must do what we must do, you know, and it's like my life, instead of being in a working band like we started out, I was starting to get good as a musician, and then I got diverted into being a pop star. You know, so I lost out as far as being a musician goes, whereas, say, Eric, who went, as soon as he was becoming a pop star, he joined another band, and he just kept going. I really would have liked, in some part of me, to have been able to do that. So at this point in my life, I would be a better guitar player. I'd be more fluent.
And your old songs wouldn't be new.
Yeah, that's the danger. Well, you know, we all have the ups and downs of our individual lives, and we must do what we must do. So, I'm quite happy as what happened, because, the result of it is that what I am now is I wouldn't be this if I'd have been that. It's as simple as that. And I'm quite happy with my lot.
Precious words drift away from the meaning, and the sun melts the chill from our lives, helping us all to remember what we came here for. This is love. This is love, 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 love. This is love. This is love, 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 love. Little things that will change you forever may appear from way out of the blue, making fools of everybody who don't understand. This is love. This is love, 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 love. This is love. This is love, 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 love. Since our problems have been our own creation, they also can be overcome when we use the power provided free to everyone. This is love. This is love, 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 love. This is love. This is love, 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 love. This is love. This is love, 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 love. This is love. This is love, 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 love. Oh, this is love. This is love, 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 love. This is love.
We find out kind of the lighter side to George Harrison, almost silly, and I mean that in a
Very silly.
in a complimentary.
I've always been very silly, really.
But we didn't really see a whole lot of that.
No, because there was a period, if I just, through that period of the 60s when we all went to Rishikesh looking for the light, that side, it got a bit serious, and the thing is, if I don't crack a smile, my face just looks serious anyway. And I think a lot of my songs were, had funny little things in them, but because I wasn't smiling, people didn't take them as a joke. And I think what they did was they pigeonhole me into this thing of, oh, he's the mystical one, the spiritual one, or he's the boring one, or whatever. And consequently, they missed out on some of the jokes that I was putting in there.
Had his health permitted, George would have looked forward to the more genteel live audiences here in the 21st century.
I would like to now, yeah, because the time I did that tour in the States also, it was a very difficult period because the audiences were like wacko, you know, they were drunk and disorderly. And I was thinking, you know, most of these people, half of them may come to see you, and the other half come because that's what's happening in town, or they're with somebody who's come to see you.
It's a scene.
And I kept thinking, well, maybe it's better just to play to like 200 people who actually like you than, you know, 17,000 people who are just going somewhere to get loaded. And nowadays, I think everybody's matured, we're all older, and the audience may be old, all those. I think it's a much better time, you know, for me. I can control myself, I'm a bit more grown up, and I approach it from a much more professional point of view. I can't make decisions. I'm very bad at doing decisions, and I have to just wait and see what will be. I didn't really know how my physical body could stand up to it, because I'm not a athletic kind of person. You know, some people are always out there playing tennis and jogging, and Mick Jagger for a tour. Mick, you know, he jogs backwards for like, you know, 20 miles every day. So, and he does that on stage, running up and down that scaffolding.
Yes, he does.
So, I'm not like that. All I do is stand there. And sometimes it's taken me, over the last few years, it's taken me, you know, all my strength just to sit on the couch watching TV. It's, you know, I'm not the most physical person. So, I needed to get myself together, you know, so that I didn't want to, like, collapse on stage halfway through.
No, that wouldn't
look good. No. So this story's getting a bit old now, but I stopped smoking. You know, I used the tour as an excuse to get rid of this horrible curse of nicotine. So it worked. I thought, now if I'm going to do this, I got to try, you know, because Eric was so generous. I thought the least I can do is try to do it as good as I can, and maybe make him proud, you know, to have been a part of it, or the instigator behind this. You know, I didn't want to just, like, flunk out. So I stopped smoking, and I tried to get some breathing exercises so I could sing, and I have a bit more power to my voice. And once I get going, you know, I feel really good.
Is it easier now than, say, 5 years after Beatles?
Oh, it's much easier now.
Why?
Just because, you know, the water under the bridge is good. You know, time heals everything, and put a bit of distance between, you know, now I can just take it, or like all these songs I'm doing, I can just enjoy it, and just enjoy it for what it is. I'm more mature, I'm happier, I think I'm healthier.
You seem all those things.
Yeah, and so I'm determined to be able to, each day, just try to enjoy it, and you know, that's what it's about, really. It's just about how to get blissed out, and if there's, you know, any chance that I'm going to be in a negative situation or in something that's painful, I don't want to do that. I just want to be happy. Every album I've ever made, I write the tune, I record it, and that's it. I listen to it during the mixing, and maybe up until the point where, you know, it's been out for a week or so, and then that's it.
But do you agree that that's definitely not the norm for most musicians? Most
of them are working bands, and they just go in, record like we used to do in the early 60s. You make an album, and off you go on the road. Just for today, I could try to live through this day only, not deal with all life's problems, just for today. If just for one night I could feel not sad and lonely, not be my own life's problem, just for one night. Try
If just for one night I could feel not sad in the moment, not be my own life's problem, just for one night. Just for today, I could try to live through this day only, not deal with all life's problems, just for today.
George Harrison, with the heartfelt Just for Today from Cloud 9. Walk forever in the light, my friend. I'm Redbeard, back in the studio after this.
Worry less with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
So your son got home safe last night? Tom said he had a flat tire. Yeah, he was out past curfew and got stuck on Route 1, but Liberty Mutual went out and took care of it for him. Liberty did what? Yeah, a flat, jump, or tow. It's no problem no matter where or when with their roadside assistance. What was he doing out so late anyway? Getting himself grounded for a